So I am going to paint the background like a blue. I usually just paint with primary colors, because once you learn how to mix colors, you can make any color out of it. So you just need to buy the primary colors, but I have green also. So I'm just going to put a little bit of green with my blue. This is a lot of paint for what I'm doing. And use a popsicle stick to mix your paint. I like it when it's not totally mixed, because that gives it like different shades. And I'm going to put some white with it, because this is very, very dark. Oh, okay. Hopefully we'll make it with the white. This is a lot of paint. You should be able to paint all of this with about 2 ounces of paint. I am going to start with the inside, or should I start with that? Let's start with the outside, because then I can talk more. I like to paint with a sponge on the outside. This is just a normal sponge that I cut. I have a big piece. Put it in the water. Then I squeeze it a few times inside the water. Squeeze most of the paint out. And just see. See? That's the color I think I want. And I'm just going to start painting. It doesn't matter if it goes into some of the places. Let's get the paintbrush. I'm just going to use this watery paint over there. Some up here. I went over all the leaves with a green washable kids marker. So I'm like, I got so confused. I don't want to think about where everything is tonight. So over here where the lines are, that's where I'm going to sew the pillow. But if you can totally use a pillow that's already sewn that you buy. I only paint on cotton. I made a little video about what paint to use. There's a video on YouTube that you can watch about that. There we go. I have to remind myself I don't need to paint every bit with a... I want a little bit more green. Paint every piece with a paintbrush. That's how I can paint tablecloths and stuff, because I just use big paintbrushes or the sponge. You will see I go over and over a few times, because we want to make sure the paint goes into the woven part of the fabric. Gonna keep on wetting my brush, because I want the more water you put with it, the more it becomes like water color paint. Need a little bit more green there. Now we have to figure out leaf or not leaf. Let's go in there. Don't worry if you go into the leaf. I would be more concerned about going into the flower. So what we have here, we need to paint this bit. We need to paint this bit. Might have to come back. I might miss pieces of the puzzle here. There's a little bit. See, now I'm just painting with that tip of the paintbrush in there. I'm just trying to put a little bit of paint there. With my brush again. That's a leaf, that's a leaf. This is not a leaf. I always paint my background first because I am a very messy painter. So sometimes I'll bring the paint over and I'll have a drop somewhere, and I would hate for it to be on my tulips or my bunny. So I prefer to paint the background first. And as you can see, I'm going to have a lot of paint left. Just going to keep on going. Gonna put my sponge somewhere. I might need it later on. And now I am going to switch to yellow. I like to put yellow under my leaves, and I'm going to put yellow under the basket also. So that should be a quick paint. Yellow is the most transparent paint I have here. I dip it in the water and then I just clean it off a little bit. So now I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna go over because the leaves also get yellow underneath. This is not so important that I cover all of it. I just want some yellow there, like in the middle of the leaf. And that's a leaf too. And if you go over the line, you can always take your finger and try and take some of the paint away. We'll go over here. There's too much paint. This is very cool to like show some dimension in your leaves if you do it this way. You can just paint it green and brown also if you don't want to bother too much. See over here, if I take the yellow over the blue, it makes a greenish color. The leaves, let's paint the leaves. So for the leaves, I'm gonna use my green. Can you see? Oh, it's not. Okay. The green I have is more like a jade green. It's not like a grass green. But if I put it on top of the yellow, it becomes more like a grass green. I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm just going to keep on going. And I will start on this side. So that leaf goes under the... Maybe try a smaller brush now. Do I want to? And so if you make a leaf, and now what I can do is I like pull the paint away and the yellow green comes out and it gives it a little bit of dementia. Dementia, no, that sounds like an illness. Dimension. Sorry, English is my second language, so there's that problem. That leaf goes over that one. So I'm gonna use a different. I'm looking for something thinner than what I have here. Skinnier. I know you can't really see it, but I'll post a picture of this. If you zoom in, you will see the little lines that it makes. And even the paint's very watery, this green, so it makes it its own lines where there's more paint. You can see how little paint I've used. That's like, I put like a quarter piece down, but I've used very little of it. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull this leaf. There we go. Oh, I've gotten all the leaves. Just like that. Let's do the stems. Maybe I should use a little bit of blue and white with the stems, just so they look a little different. You might need a little bit more green. I'm just making them a different green. Almost like a bluish green. You can use yellow also with it. I don't know. Let's go there. Get that one. Come up in the flower a little bit. Get some of that blue, some green. We'll see what we do to make them stand out a little bit more. Might come back and put like a different color on top later on. We'll see once they paint it what it looks like. I mean, they can be green like the rest. It shouldn't really make a difference. Okay, so now let's do the handle and the basket. Let's get. I have 100 brushes, but I paint with a few. Very little. Oh, this one will work. This is like a little bit more than a 1/4 inch. Okay, so I am going to just cover this with the brown. Wait, oh, the brushes in the water. Going to make it a little wider than what I've drawn it. Something on there, just want to take it off. Okay, so now for the basket, I like to do this. And I know you can't see it. I need something sharper. See how the yellow comes out? Just makes it look a little more. If you don't like, because those were going in a straight line now, you can just come over it. I can see it this needs to be wider. I need to paint like this a little wider. See, I covered all my scratches. Now I'm gonna go back and scratch again. What did I scratch with this? To take my glasses off, I can't see with them. If you zoom in on the pictures that I've put online from the bunny, you will see these scratches. Scratch, scratch, scratch. See, I think that just makes sense to me. Okay, so now I'm gonna do this part. Just gonna bring this down. I am not gonna scratch the whole basket. You can do that. I mean, you can even make it look like it's a woven basket. That would be very nice. You have to scratch it while the paint is still wet, so just paint a little piece and then scratch away the wet paint so you get through to the yellow. The yellow can be dry, but whatever you put on top of it. I'm thinking like it comes down here. So maybe make the basket a little fatter here. There we go. Okay, so this is where the rim is. So I'm just gonna draw it in. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna make little hooks into here. That's okay, can't be important. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to the red.
This is the bottom of the pillow.
I'm gonna get a new plate. I don't need a plate because I'm gonna
grab a bigger
pull
brush.
the red out of the container. Hopefully it works this time. Shake, shake, shake. And I might use this brush. So I'm just cleaning this off. I think I got this also from the Dollar Tree. It looks like one of those blue brushes they have. This is 3/8 of an inch. And I am going to paint. This paint's a little thick. That's the thing. If you make your own paint, the texture is always different. And I am just going to start by, let's start in the top. I'm just painting this whole thing red. And as you can see, some of the blue came in, some of the brown is in there. All of that's okay. And just like flowers are not perfect, they all have little blobs on them and things. I am. There we go. Okay. So you can, if you want to, you can shade it with a little, I'm just using the same brush. I'm putting a little bit of blue there. And I'm just using my finger to shade it a little bit. That might be a little bit too much blue. It's okay. And we can put a little bit of blue up here. Just work some. Yeah, so it looks a little darker. I like to shade with blue or purple because it like goes with most colors. You can also use a little bit of white. Do I have white? No. Let's get a little dot of white. Oh, this white is dangerous. This is a funny one. Okay, I just want very little. Because white and red makes pink, so you have to be very careful just to bring out that. You can put a few. I'd like to finish each one off one by one. You can even put a little bit of white up there to lighten that up. Now my brush is very dirty, so I'm just gonna wipe it off. It's too much paint on it. I'm just gonna put a little bit more of the red there, because the red got a little dull. It's that one. These are all look the same, one pattern. So if you paint one, you can paint all of them. See, this one naturally is dark over there because of the background is going into the flower. Because I give you permission to color outside the lines. Just make sure you cover all of the fabric. I'd rather go over the other color than leaving pieces open. Okay, I'm gonna clean it off a little bit. Just the tip gets a little bit of blue, which might be too much. I'm taking some of it off. No, that might be too much. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now a little bit of blue down here. Let's work some of that dirty color in here. A little bit of the white. You don't want to work the white too much because you don't want to make it pink. Let's go. There's more over here. This is a much smaller flower. It's not open. Oh, and I missed this leaf. Totally missed the leaf. Crazy. Okay. Where are we going? We are gonna go do a little bit of blue. And then I'm just gonna get some white. That's not white. But if you just paint this plain red, and once we come around with the liner later on, it would still look very good. So don't worry too much about the shading that I'm doing. This is my way of meditation. I cannot sit still and think about nothing. I can paint and think about nothing. Let's stop talking to you and just go into my own little world. Oh, let's go get the green. Okay, that's enough of this. And now for the yellow leaf in the middle of I cannot believe I did not see this piece of yellow here. Luckily, I still have a lot of green left. The bunny paints very quick. Good. I am going to close my red. I might need a little bit of it to make pink later on. And now for the bunny, we're going to need white. I'm going to get a new plate because this plate is just one big mess. Yay, clean plate. Okay, the bunny, what I like to do is I take my black, I have a black liner somewhere. I use these liner bottles to line my stuff, but you can also use a liner brush like this one, which is extremely fun. Just get a little bit of black paint there. And just outline, put some black paint there. So I am going to use this bottle to do that, because with practice you will get, you can also use the plastic fabric paint that you buy in the little bottles if you just want to make a line. I know you're thinking, why is she doing this now? That is not a good idea. But. Now, if I take my white, noisy white, and I am just gonna go blob. Oh, that's black. Mistake. I wanted white. And I'm just gonna go blob, 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 blob. What this does, where that line is, this is an old brush that's like all over the place. It doesn't really paint very nice like, oh, it does paint like that, yeah. But it's hard to control. It's the ones you give to your kids to paint with. So what I do is, the hair is like, goes everywhere. And if you go over this line, it kind of makes a automatically pulls in some of the black. And I'm just blobbing all of this, so you can see it creates some texture over there. So now I'm gonna go to the other side. Maybe I should bring the camera down so you can actually see a little bit better. I'm gonna bring it down. Oh, I'm not strong enough. Hold on, people, we're falling. There we go. Let's see. See, if I go, then I'm just like, see how horrible this brush is right now. I can put this up a little bit so you can see better. Okay, there we go. More. Put it up more. Okay. So where I hit this, where the black is, it just makes my brush dirty. The tail I don't worry about too much, because we're gonna put that pom-pom on. I'm just trying to create a little bit of texture in there. Okay, so now I'm just gonna paint the feet. I'm gonna, I have red on my brush. Let's clean it off. The white is quite thick, so I like to use a lot of water with it, because it will dry a little lighter than what it is here. Where is this line? I just hold my brush and then I roll my fingers around to make that round shape. Oh, this one, it's very small. We can use a smaller brush. going a little smaller, okay? This is like a 1/4 inch. I think that's the bunny painted. Let me check. Okay. So I'm just going to paint out of the lid. I'm going to use the same flat brush that I painted everything with. I'm trying to see, what can you see? And you can see this flower. I don't know why my fabric's not lying flat anymore. So I'm just going to, the lines do not need to be exactly everywhere. They can just kind of be, see, like there. You also, they don't also need to connect all the time. The line there. These are kind of, I'm just putting the brush down. This one goes up to there. And then there's a little bit of that there. There's some down here. And then we have this one coming over there. See there, I went inside. I just tried to keep my brush as flat as possible. Also just putting paint on the tip of it. Kind of look where you're gonna go before you go. This just takes practice. But if you're scared of doing this, totally use a Sharpie. Yeah, just gonna make a little bit of a shadow, yeah, so it looks like that's on top or higher up or something. Let's make a few of these, yeah. Okay, so now the other thing that I need to, oopsie, I just need a little bit more black paint. Just wanna put some lines here because I did it up there. So now I'd have to do it everywhere. Just make work for myself. I can do the bunny feet with the bottle if you want to see how I do the bottle. I think you've seen enough of me and the paintbrush. Let's do the bottle. So this bottle is like a baby with a runny nose. You have to clean or keep on wiping the nose. Let's see how much control I have, if I still remember. You just have to decide where you're gonna go, and you have to go. So you can practice over here. I just want to make sure it flows good. There we go, that's the feet. You can also like just put some dots here. That would also make this look a little darker. I'm just blobbing the dots so it's not so definite. There's the tail. Almost like stitches around it. And now for the biggest part, you have to put your name on your painting. So I'm just gonna scratch down here, put my CB, which is my signature, and that's my painting for tonight. Tomorrow we're gonna come and we're gonna make a wool pom-pom, or I'm also gonna make a fabric pom-pom, and I'll tell you what to do. You wait at least 2 days or 3 days. Then you heat set this, wait for it to dry, heat set it, and then you can wash it. So I will put the instructions for the heat setting on here. I have on my website, I also have all the basics for fabric paint. It's like a PDF that you can download that tells you, do not, you know, do I wash my fabric? How do I heat set it? How do I wash it afterward? I want to show you, can you see the scratches over here, those yellow marks? You can see the scratches very clearly over there. I made some nice thick ones there. But on this one, I only did it on the basket. Oh, and we're going to make this fabric pom-pom also. Isn't that cute? And these just go on with a pin. I just keep them separate and pin it on. Okay.